think I hear the natives dancing again.
Somebody's got some crickets in the background. But not for one of discussion. We got a great discussion tonight already. It seems 3 people at least lined up to talk about stuff. So welcome to the 19th of April, Dallas Personal Robotics Group Builders Night Virtual, our online meeting each Tuesday night. So we'll just do the usual and go around the table and see what there is to see. There's one little bit of housekeeping next Tuesday night. I'm going to be most likely in a bad network area, not able to join that well. So it looks like, Doug, you're going to be able to like let people in and such, but Joe might be on your own for sorting through the meeting next Tuesday night. But aside from that, so what have we got tonight? We've got already volunteered. We've got John G, Doug P, and Pat C in queue. And would anyone else like to add their name to that list before we dig in?
Excuse me, why am I?
Doug P. Oh, thank you.
There's dinner.
Raspberry pie.
Dessert. Dessert.
With chocolate ice cream. Yeah. Okay.
Got a small update.
Paul does. Okay, cool. All right. Well, with that, let's dig in then. So, John, did you want to go first? Did you have time to get ready yet?
Yeah. Let's see. Do a screen share here. Hopefully the sound will come through. I'm going to play a YouTube video that I posted. I've added a new behavior to my skull face.
You've got a cursing skull now? No.
Awesome. I love that thing.
Look at that.
Wait for it.
It's going to scream at us.
See, now y'all are all laughing. I couldn't hear the.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Now wait. Listen after the scream.
Nice.
A little chuckle there, huh?
The evil genius laugh.
That's it.
Hey, one question. It's a little, that's a gold star though, isn't it? Right? I think that's something. So John, it's a little hard to tell if the video is kind of shaky as it came across the web. Do the eyes track the position of your head as you approach from different angles? Like, do the eyes like?
Yeah, it was tracking. Did you want me to share that again? It was a little. I don't think I can improve the bandwidth situation any.
It kind of seemed like it did, but it was a little hard to tell.
Yeah, you kind of have to watch closely because the video is a little jerky here.
Oh yeah,
yep. Looks like it's tracking.
There it is. Okay, and then comes the big question. So, do you have angle correction for parallax on the eyes?
No, I don't have any parallax correction.
So what would that mean? They'd have to go like slightly cross? Or
the eyes are in that spot on the top.
You'd kind of have to get cross-eyed as the face gets close, but that's right. One. The problem is the eyes have a single servo for controlling left, right, and up, down. You can't independently move the eyes.
Fair enough. Hey, it's still cool. It's still really cool.
So do you have to get it to scream, do you have to be like, it's, so close to it or something?
Yeah. If somebody moves their face closer, the eyelids narrow. And when they get close enough, the eyelids are completely closed, and then it goes into startle mode where it pops open the eyes and the jaw and plays the sounds.
Do you have a source of compressed air?
Say what?
Do you have a source of compressed air?
Oh, I don't think that would be a good idea. You'd have, kids running over each other at Halloween if you had something like that.
Oh yeah, well, you get so close and it lets a puff of
I
air
mean,
out
as it
and
is, I'm going to have to put a warning sign below it that says may be too scary for some children.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I had.
You know, I do believe that the best scare I ever did on anybody was they had these mats I could get at Party City that when you stepped on them, it would scream just like that. So we had the lights way down at a Halloween thing, and they'd walk up into this little cubby hole into the front door, and we had the light turned out, so it was a little dark. It had like some red glowing eyes and things on it. And I put the mat underneath the normal mat, and it wasn't heavy enough to set it off till somebody stepped on it. And I took the liberty of opening the door when somebody rang the doorbell, just so I could see the wide eyes like this, because they were just all freaked out. Almost every one of them hit the thing. It was awesome. It was awesome.
There you go. A second camera for capturing reactions.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. And then you could, see, if you set it up to have it around the corner and wait like 30 seconds to replay it, and as they walked around the corner and they're leaving, they could, oh, dude, we've already made it too hard. Between me and Carl, we've just made the thing not way too hard, but much harder than it just started off. You know.
Well, actually, I don't even need a second camera. I just, if I could store selected frames a few seconds with a second or two after the reaction, I'd probably catch something good.
Very nice. Cool. Well, way to go. All right, I think next in queue we had Doug. You've managed to do something? Little report to update?
Well, okay. No, that was talk.
Frozen internet.
Frozen Doug.
Frozen Doug.
Froze. Yeah, I thought I had crappy internet.
Cold front swept through. All right, sorry, Doug. We'll catch up with you after a spell, if you can hear this. All right, well, let's skip ahead then. So, Pat.
Okay, I've got a couple things. So one, I wanted to share the DPRG website, and I'm just going to present my window. And so this is what I get when I try to see the video on April 12th.
Every night? I mean, is that for every meeting or just this one 12th?
No. This is that's just that meeting. So I did watch this one that I missed on the Saturday, and they're all there except for the one that was posted for the 12th. It's coming up as videos private.
Okay. I wonder if that's related to Doug's meetup feed, because I think he's private right now too, Frozen. So
I don't know. I tried to watch it last weekend, and that's where I ended up.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we'll let him know when he gets back on, or send him an email or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I've got the same symptom.
Ooh,
Just check.
probably has to do with shared Netflix accounts, maybe.
Huh, yeah.
I'm only sharing it with 4 people, so I don't know why I would have that problem.
Same here. Okay, yeah, we'll get that to Doug, and I'm sure it's just a switch on the YouTube account.
Okay. So last week or a couple weeks ago, I was talking about the USB camera I had for my Raspberry Pi for the robot, and I was having trouble with VLC, and I couldn't get it to work to display video, and it was giving me a lot of trouble. So if everyone could see my screen,
Yep.
The bottom frame is the dual camera that brings up everything as one frame, so it's one large wide frame. And I was able to pull it into OpenCV and split it. I've got a left and a right frame. So you can do processing on both. With my intention with this is to do some depth field processing and try to tackle my chain link fence problem. So I want to see if I can possibly capture it with a left or right camera, and then process it to detect how far away the fence is, or a bush, or whatever the case may be. So it is possible that little camera's working. I guess not too bad.
So what did you have in mind for, you say going to use OpenCV. What do you have in mind for being able to detect a fence?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna when I do a essentially turn it to a gray image, or blur it out first, then turn it to a gray image, and try to capture the depth from the sides of the frame. So the left and right side of the frame, and then in front of the robot as well.
Oh, okay. So basically, you're going to say, is there any object there just based on depth alone?
Just based on depth alone, since it's, I think, pretty hard to get the chain link detected. The shape is not consistent as you go, as you get closer to parallel to the fence. It really interferes with anything I've come up with so far. So I'm thinking the depth may be the way to go.
So are you looking for just a little shift in each frame, left or right and down, but horizontally to indicate how far away you are from the fence?
Where am I? Yeah, exactly. How far am I? What's the closest spot on the left or the right to the robot? So I'd be looking at several different spots on the side, and then in front as well, if we're running straight on into a fence.
But if you're gonna, you said you were gonna probably, well, I think changing it to black and white, then doing edge detection.
No, I'm gonna blur the image, and then I'm gonna change it to black and white.
Yep.
And then with a left and a right image, and then I'm gonna do a depth field analysis on it.
Okay, but that's comparing like the different perspectives of the camera, right? In other words,
yes.
The left camera is gonna have a view shifted slightly left from center. Right camera, same thing, but to the right.
Yeah, they're about I don't know, about 8 centimeters apart, the two cameras. And the routine that I'd be using from OpenCV would take that into account. So you basically calibrate the cameras with a checkerboard pattern, and then you get rid of the lens distortion as well with another routine. So you're essentially looking at 2 flat images, and then and then basically do a depth comparison based on, I believe it's pixel displacement. So I wanted to try that. So for the fall contest.
So basically, you'd say if above some threshold number of pixels have shifted, then there's a fence there.
There is something there on the. I don't care if it's a fence, a tree, a bush.
Oh, exactly. I mean, but
the side of a building, whatever. It'll just give me an idea that something is there.
Well, you don't want it to stop based on a blade of grass.
No.
So yeah, you'd have some lower threshold for number of pixels shifted, I assume.
Yeah. Certain size or whatever, that is the area I'd be looking at.
It kind of seems like if you did edge detection, though, that would be simpler, because you could, edges are going to be similar in the 2 images. And if you can look for like the difference of an edge in a, one region and say, okay, this edge appeared at pixel 20, but this one appeared at 27 or something. And is that
when I'm at a 45-degree angle, it's reasonable that would work. The problem is when I'm running parallel to the fence, nothing I've looked at really has seemed to work. It becomes basically just random noise in the picture, all the edge detection.
Yeah, but are you actually going to be running using your camera? How are you going to, your camera, if you're going 90, so you're just saying it'll be on the edge of the field of view?
Yeah, so I'm going to, my camera is going to be placed pointing at an upward angle. Okay. So it'll be placed about 6 inches above the ground.
Okay.
and at an upward angle, so that
Alright.
I'm not detecting the grass in front of the camera.
Yeah, I understand. So
And
I
the
guess
lower
what
edge
I'm, yeah, except when you're going downhill 6 inches.
Except when I'm going downhill. That'll be
Yeah,
a
it's-
whole other problem.
Yeah. No, I guess what I was wondering was, Pat, why did you not, I guess I was thinking more like Ray, you go ahead and do edge detection and then determine if you've got parallel edges, because even at different angles, they should still be, I think, maybe at 90 degrees, it'll break down.
well,
But you should get a lot of parallel lines,
I'm not sure
especially if
you
you're
were
driving
here for that.
towards one.
I'm not sure if you were here for that discussion before a couple of weeks back, Doug, but the problem is you're thinking of an idealized chain link fence. When you actually look at a lot of chain link fences, especially at an angle, there's no
Yeah.
straight lines. It's all curves.
No, I understand that. But I'm still thinking that, or you could say just similar, you could, I don't know, take one edge and put it on top of another edge. I'm just saying is it seems like that there should
Or look at
be,
the difference horizontally in
Yeah.
where a pixel on an edge in a given line. That would tell you.
I think Pat is probably interested in the more general case as well, right? Not just chain link fence, but anything in your path.
Exactly. It could be multi-purpose.
Well, that would work for pretty much any object that you're looking at, because if you do an edge detection on it, you're still going to have two different perspectives from each of the cameras. Each one's going to show a shift.
I
And
think that it sounds like there's a conceptual difference where most of us are accustomed to disparity calculation, and it sounds, Pat, like you've got a different idea than disparity.
Yeah. So I was trying to do edge detection. I just showed it on my screen with an image I had.
Yep.
And I'm not having much luck with the fine details on the fencing. You can see there, the bottom right is the original image.
Yep.
And the top right is a little bit blurred. The bottom is again trying to subtract the green out of the image. And then the top left is my line detection, like edge detection. And it's just all over the place. It's just noise. And that's just one case. So I'm not saying that it isn't doable, but at this point, I think it may be easier to try to do it with a depth map.
Yeah, I don't think that's trivial, though. Depth map calculations are quite a bit involved in it.
Well, part of the thing that sort of is attracting me to it is that there's all sorts of them out there. There's all sorts of code already developed in OpenCV for that.
Yeah.
And this one here, I seem to be, it's on. There's not a lot out there.
So are you using disparity or not, Pat?
No, I'm not.
So you're looking for differences between the left and right image on the left or right edge. And your assumption is
It's just a progression of images, essentially. If I go to left to right, so there's the original image, and there's the last one. So from left to right, there's my original image, and then we
Blur.
I believe I'm enhancing, blurring it a little bit, and then I'm removing the green out of the image in the third picture because it's on both sides of the fence, and makes it a little tough at times. And then the last image is the edge detection.
Okay, but I think if I understood what the description of what you propose, and you're saying you're not using disparity between the left and right images. So
This is only one image.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, then you're saying you're getting a depth map. So from what?
No, not these images. These images are why I'm thinking about using a depth map. I haven't gone into it yet with the camera. So once I get the camera working, I would go capture some images of some fences, and with the stereo camera and a calibration done to see what sort of results I get.
But you said you're not planning on using disparity in what you propose to do with your two images. Did I miss that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure what they're doing. I've just been on a couple sites looking at how they've been doing it and what their results are. I haven't gone into depth yet to see to analyze and look at what they're doing in the program.
Okay.
So far, I've just been looking at what do I need to get to that point, and there's several websites.
I wonder if you could key off the vertical lines or the poles in the image and say, okay, that after edge detection, I want to find a vertical line somewhere in the image, or the longest vertical line, and then look for that same vertical line in the other image, and there you could easily use disparity.
So I did try to do edge detection with vertical lines for the posts.
Oh, you did? Didn't work.
And I did have some, I would say, limited results, good results with detecting the vertical lines.
Yep.
But not 100%.
Oh.
Depending on the background that was there behind some of the posts would disappear into oblivion. And
you have an OD light, right?
No, I don't have an OD light. So the closer posts are coming in, the first post and the next post along the line that look to be good. It's as I get a little farther out, it gets worse.
Yeah, but of course, if you're between posts and you only see chain link, then it's not going to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then it doesn't help solve if I get along a wooden fence or a building. Although
you can't see
ultrasonic detectors or the infrared will probably help with building, but then the trees and shrubs and tall grass, the camera should be able to detect as well if I do a depth map.
Well, this is going to be really interesting to see your final solution. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I'm hitting the road at the end of May for 7 weeks, going west to see the kids, and so pulling the trailer, doing whatever. So I'm going to be bringing my camera on a stick and a Raspberry Pi and doing a little bit of playing at night or something. So something to keep the sanity when my grandson starts driving me nuts.
If you were just looking for a chain link fence,
yep,
you might be able to pull off one of the tricks that Ray did, which he took a line laser, like they use for leveling pictures and stuff.
Yep.
And anything that reflects the light will make that line go up and down. It'll go up. So if you were just looking at the red line, area of interest, and you saw periodic breaks, you might be able to use that to detect that you're in front of a link of a chain link fence.
We're using a bandpass filter with that.
I think it's bright, pretty red. Now, I don't know what the range outdoors would be. I guess it would depend on the laser that you used.
Yeah.
You might be able, but you could use filtering until all you saw was the line. Okay.
We used to do that in the sawmill industry where you would project a line and you use a bandpass filter, the same frequency as the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yep.
so you use a 670 nanometer bandpass filter,
Mhm.
and it would filter out most of the light except for the red laser line.
Right.
Yeah.
That works well in the sawmill industry, except they invented these things called LED lights. And when you get to
Same
the
bandwidth.
5000K or 5000K spectrum on those lights, they're full of red light.
Yeah.
They're full
Yeah.
of everything. It's a full spectrum light.
Yeah.
And so it makes it harder on the filters.
Yep.
But I haven't tried outdoors. We were using, I forget how, it was a class 1 laser we would use on those.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be wearing safety glasses, the laser glasses and everything with those. Never mind the class 2 laser, which I'm not sure if that's what you would need outdoors.
You might, yeah. It worked pretty good indoors. You could easily get like 15 feet out of it.
Indoors,
see objects
yeah.
that far away. Yeah.
With no direct sunlight, I think would work work well.
Yeah. Never tried it outside. Don't know if it would go.
I don't have many.
I'm gonna have to try one outside. I'm just gonna shoot it and see if the camera can pick it up. That's kind of cool.
I'd be curious because in sunlight, I
use one of those little laser rangefinders. I go out 40 yards without any problem. So, I don't know. It might, I guess like I say, I think it probably really depends on the laser. You are splitting the beam, so you're losing power. So it'd be interesting. But if you could get 15 feet, that'd be kind of cool. That's just
if you could get 6 feet,
yeah.
6 feet out beside you and 10 feet essentially in front of you would be ideal.
Yeah.
Has anybody tried the ST little modules, like the ones with the 16 by 16 sensor, or maybe 4x4 sensor arrays?
I think Paul had posted one.
Yeah.
And I did a little bit of reading on it because I thought it had the angle field of view was quite large. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't find in the document at 2 feet or at 3 feet or at 10 feet, how wide of a field of view is it? And is it only selected from within that field of view?
Well,
when you're looking at the pads,
they give you the field of view in degrees.
Yes.
So then you can use trig to figure out the relationship between how wide the field of view is at whatever range.
At a certain distance,
right?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the range of a particular zone? The width of a particular zone.
So, well, that's what I was trying to figure out, and I didn't see it in the data sheet for it. But when you're looking at it, is it reporting just one pad when you're looking at it, or
no? It's averaging multiple pads. There's a kind of an interesting document. I'll see if I can bring it up.
This is a robot.
It has a. Give me a second to find the picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and so let me find the document.
Okay, cool.
But none of those have been tested outside, right? They're really meant to work indoors, aren't they?
Well,
No,
no,
this one.
That one there was meant to work outdoors. It worked in, I think it was 40,000 lux or something.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying, hey, maybe this will work outdoors. But I couldn't get a firm answer. I couldn't find a firm answer to say that, hey, it'll spot I can detect a 2-inch post or a chain link fence, or with a reflection coming back. Because that would be the ideal way to go, because they're whatever they are, $20 or $40, and you know, you can couple on the robot and you're in business.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody saw SparkFun had a product announcement, but it wasn't with the ST sensor. It
That's the
looked like,
one. Yeah. That's the one that Paul mentioned.
Yeah.
in the-
It's an AMS sensor, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
yeah. Jesse
Looked
jumped
like it
on
had
it and
4
said that.
zones, I
Yeah.
think.
Jesse said that his discount's good on
Yeah.
that, by the way. So if you decide to buy one, use this code. Because it's a SparkFun original.
So the AMS
Yeah.
sensor, was that supposed to work outside?
It was supposed to. The articles I read on it talked about it working outdoors.
Hmm.
So
What was the
brightness
range,
sensor-
Pat? Paul, Pat?
It's up. I thought it was 5 meters.
Yeah,
5 meters,
5
yeah.
meters.
That's what I remembered too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Should
I'm
be
trying to remember if it
good
was
enough.
20 centimeters to 5 meters or 2 centimeters to 5 meters. I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember what the low end was.
Okay,
What was
let me,
the-
I found the page I was looking for, so let me share it.
So what you're about to show us, was that for the ST sensors or for the AMS or
AMS.
AMS? Okay.
Okay, so in this depiction of a one-dimensional set of spads across the focal plane, translating into a certain angle of field of view from one to the other, what they essentially do is they change which set of spads they put into which zones to change the field of view. So it doesn't change it a whole lot, but here's some examples. 3x3 in normal mode, you can see that they've got 9 zones, and there's 2 rows by what, about 6 spads in each zone. Then if you go into which results in a 45-degree field diagonal, 33 by 32, left to right. Then if you go into macro mode, you get a 56-degree field of view, so about 10% more, 20% more. But you can see they've changed the shape of which spads they're selecting and how many of them there are. And if you look down, that's more noticeable in the 4x4 and the 3x6, where here you can see in normal mode with a 63-degree field of view, they've got about 3 rows by 5 spads in each zone. But then if they reduce the field of view to the narrowest, it goes 52 degrees, which, it's not a whole lot. It's like 10 degrees out of 63, so it's approaching 20%. But now they're down to 2 rows by 4 spads per zone. So that's how they do the adjustable field of view, using multiple spads per zone and mapping spads into zones.
Well, it looks like, Paul, they're not also, it looks like if you look at the one in the upper left-hand corner, it looks like different zones have different spad counts. Like they're otherwise in the center, it looks like they're 2 by probably 6.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And
good
then,
point, Doug. Yep, I didn't notice that, but I agree. I think you're right. But I think that's okay, because the number of spads isn't related to the range. It would just affect the sensitivity.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering. Would we be able to detect like a chain link fence with something like that? Is the reflection on the chain link fence small enough?
So there's another
big enough,
picture
sorry,
here that is quite instructive and speaks to that question. Let me see if I can just find it. It's the multi-zone. Here we go. So multi-zone. So here is an example of zone 3 here. They've got an object of 50 centimeters.
Can you zoom in a little bit on that display?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here you go, Pat. We'll give you one of these.
So there's always a reflection at 25, they say, which is, I don't think this is in centimeters. Or maybe it is.
Looks like it.
No, it's not in centimeters. It's in whatever the units of measurement are. And they always see this near-in reflection, which is the transmitter. And then they see one or more bursts of reflection from objects at different ranges. So you can see in this top row, histogram 1 and 2 really are only seeing one reflection, but histogram 3 is showing 2 reflections. And so you're supposed to be able to figure that out from the readback. I don't know what the readback data looks like, so but that's the idea.
Okay. Can you put a link to the data sheet, please?
Yeah, I said, yeah, sure.
Or you put it on the, it's on the list server, right?
Now let's just put it in chat. I believe Pat it is on the, I think Paul put the link in the.
What I put in was a link to the family of AMS sensors, and then you had to dig down below that into like support and documentation or something like that. But this is, I've just posted the link to the 882X family data sheet.
I think they used to call this actually reading the data sheet. Don't know though.
Reading?
reading the data sheet. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, can you slide up to the specs? Can we see what their lights and how?
Yeah, they've got so here are some graphs of distance versus
Lux. Yeah.
I don't know luxes, so maybe you guys probably know better than me how to translate this into sunlight.
Okay. What is Doug used to know that? What is sunlight like? 100,000?
Yeah. Here in Texas, really bright line is 100,000 lux.
Yeah. So that's nothing.
Yeah. So you see, you got to get, but
That's
if he's
moonlight,
doing,
I think.
if he's doing 40,000 lux, then it's probably, a sunlit day without any, not the middle of July. You know what I'm saying? It's probably like the type of day we had today probably didn't get up to 100. It was probably 40,000 lux.
So here's 10K lux.
Yeah.
With an 18% gray card.
Yeah, that's another thing that you have to worry about on these guys is if the color of the object that you're trying to detect has an impact too.
Yep. So that's 1.5 meters. That's not too bad.
Well, it's 2.5 meters, right?
Yeah, but are his data points kind of fading out there?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
I don't know.
I don't know how to read this. I didn't really dig into trying to understand this. Reported distance fades out, but then there's minimum. Oh, I see. These are error bound. I see what you mean, Ray. Yeah, 1.5 meters. Yeah.
That's 6 feet. That's still quite a good
Not
range.
bad, yeah. That's a lot of spads. Okay.
Now we're back into fluorescent light. And they go out to 5 meters here.
Pat, you're going to have to look for fences at like dawn and dusk, but not during the middle of the day.
So it's 350. Oh, so 350 lux is sort of fluorescent indoor lighting, but like 10 to 40K is sunlight.
Let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, I want to say, I thought bright sunlight was around 100K, but don't
Yeah.
quote me on that.
No.
So anyway, that's
So SparkFun
what
may
I
ask
had.
that question, what do you want for $30? You know, you want it to work in full
Yeah.
sunlight and darkness.
Yep, you got it.
interesting. Yeah, and here's the picture where they've got this reference peak, which is the pulse coming out of the pixel, I think is what they call that, the transmitter. And then the measurement peaks.
So that-
And it senses them really fast. You can change how fast it pulses, but here they're quoting 550K pulses per second, which is like, that's really going fast.
Mhm. Hey, Paul, can I
Guess
jump
there's a
in
pretty good
and
spread if you're using histograms to.
can I jump in and
Yeah.
present? I got something here that'll help get everybody oriented. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so this is kind of where you are. And believe me, you can get to 100 kilo in Texas in a super bright 100K lux is not hard to do.
Oh wow!
That's a sunburn in 20 minutes. No.
Yeah. So, but normal full daylight, is 10 to 25. So that's
Oh.
a hazy day or shade or clouds in the air, type of day.
Wow, very
So,
strange.
yeah.
Thanks.
So
Tom.
that's one that we talked about from a couple of weeks ago. They
Well-
were 3,000 lux. So
Ooh.
they would have definitely been in this. That was the one that was 60 something bucks. So but they would be in this range. So,
Who offered that one, Doug?
oh God. I'd have to look back on the thing. Who makes Broadcom's. That's who
Oh.
makes it. That was
Yeah.
who it was. It was a Broadcom show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and their device was rather different than this one.
Yeah.
As I recall, it had lenses that focused the beam much more narrowly, so it was intended for a longer range, narrower target, narrow field of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. These things are coming. I mean, I remember getting the first STI ones, VLX1 or whatever it was. They've come so far from then. It's amazing what they're doing with these guys now.
Every company and their dog is producing one. It seems like.
They're looking for them to be some sort of LiDAR for cars is what they're looking for. That's where they want to go with it. They want it to be, where you have a couple of those stuck on the front of your car.
But they don't have the range.
Well, you crawl before you walk.
It's going to be a
and you
very
walk
slow
before you.
moving car. No.
Yeah.
I'm not
So-
finding the lux for the sunlight on that page anywhere. I'm finding the test conditions where they have 350 lux and 1400 lux. but I haven't seen. So I must be mistaken that it was a different one. Maybe it was the Broadcom one.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it'll work.
Well,
on a
no,
tree.
I think Paul said it worked on. I believe in your message you said it worked out. The one from Adafruit, you said it was an outdoor part. I believe.
Was it the Broadcom one?
No, the one you sent in the list just this last week,
That's this
and
one,
you
right?
said
Yeah.
a Spark Fun, not Adafruit. I'm sorry, Spark Fun.
Yeah. I
And-
thought it was because of the luck. Saw something. Let me just take a quick look. Oh yeah, it's where it's because of those graphs where it said 5K lux sunlight, 10K lux sunlight.
Okay.
I didn't know
Well,
like what the normal range of sunlight
Yeah,
was, but
10K is overcast, basically.
yeah, from the graph that you show, I think the graph that you showed 1,000 lux for a overcast day. So maybe it doesn't work nearly as well in really, really bright sunlight, but maybe in sort of like modest sunlight, it might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we can only have the contest on cloudy days.
Or under trees, you know.
Under trees, that's what we need to do. Do it
That
under
means
tree.
I won't have to wear my hat. That'd be good. It'll be all right.
Yeah. But
That's
then,
why,
then you,
that's why I said okay in sunlight, Doug.
Huh?
That's why I said okay in sunlight, that it's
Okay,
intended
gotcha.
for sunlight because of that 5K and 10K lux
Yeah.
performance graphs.
I mean, that's
think
pretty
it's
good. I
amazing.
mean, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's probably something, who knows? Maybe with some shielding and stuff, maybe you can get away with it. I don't know.
A little hat over
Yeah.
the sensor, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? So,
Well, that's what I'm looking to do with the camera is to shield it from overhead from the light,
mhm.
from sunlight, basically to try to block some of that. That's it for me.
Okay, who's next?
You are.
Me?
Doug, yeah, I think you were good to go.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah, I had
close.
when I was going to talk the last time, the whole computer froze up and I had to get out, and it could have had something to do with having like 200 Chrome windows open, but I don't, who knows? Anyway, I just wanted to mention I'm, because of my wife, I've been a little inactive, and but I did this week actually started to I'm using an old version of Donkey Car to capture images for training. So that's, by the way, that's the Donkey Car program is a good, if you're not real good with Python or anything, is a good platform to either capture your images or do whatever you want with them. And also a basis to get started if you want to start modifying things, because the new ones will handle Ackerman, they'll handle differential. There's a whole slew of options that you can do. Then I guess the other thing I wanted to say, did everybody see the message by Murray on the list? Okay, he mentioned that on the Reddit, it's not Reddit,
The Discord server.
Discord server, that somebody had published a Python robotic library. And I got to admit, I have just looked at the topics. I haven't actually gone in to determine the code, but it's got probably every algorithm that you'd ever want. I mean, it's got all the common filters, particle filters. It's got A star, S star, B star, all of those things. It's really an interesting, could be really interesting to take a look at. So I just thought that if you just kind of blew that one off, might be worth your while to take a look at it. It looked like it could be potentially very valuable. I'm not a Python programmer, so but this might something like this might get me started on it. Just say, I guess that's all I really wanted to mention.
Cool. I'll put a link to it in the chat here.
Yeah.
What are you capturing those images for on your donkey cart, Doug?
Well, I'm going to definitely have some sort of AI cone detection. The first step is to get the images. If you remember in Jesse's presentation, how he talked about you have 3 bins. You have a bin that doesn't have the object in it. You have a bin that has the object in it, but you're going to use it for verification, and then you have your training set. And that's what I'm going to collect. So here's what I'm doing. I'm basically driving my donkey car, my 1/10 scale donkey car that's made on the same frame as the one that my rover's made on. So it's got a big, it's got a Pi 3 camera on it, and I've got it just drive it around using RC. So from a donkey car point of view, it would be it's trying to record 3 pieces of information. One is the image at 10 hertz per second. 10 hertz per second is redundant. And also it's taking steering measurements and angle measurements that when the picture was taken. Well, since I'm doing it with an RC transmitter receiver setup, that's always going to be 0, but that's because I'm not trying to do a donkey car. I'm just trying to get training images for cone. All right. And I still want to pursue there's a couple of ways you can go. One is the model, the neural net, probably YOLO, but or mobile SSD. But those would be one way, but I'd also like to do a Hoskas cascade because I saw that done on a YouTube video and it really looked cool. So those. And you know what about a cone is it's symmetrical. It's symmetrical. Otherwise, it doesn't care whether you're looking at the left side of it or the right side of it or the back of it. It's all the same. So it might be perfect for that type of situation. Yeah. So anyway, that was what you got there, Ray.
This is the shade for my OmniVision camera, and I found I had to use it for just guard against the bright lights in the ceiling from getting into the image.
Yeah. Did it work?
And it basically looks 360 degrees around. It's just a reflector off of a flashlight or a camp lantern, the top part of it, and I made a base
Wait a
for. So that's like the top part.
But you're using a 360 camera, right?
No, this is
You didn't.
This is just the reflector out of the top of a lantern, like a flashlight lantern kind of thing, and it had I couldn't find a decent lens, and that sat on top of the Pixie Cam. So I had basically a 360 degree view.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
really cool. Yeah.
So, and that worked really well. Got the flashlight from Walmart's. I think it's an Ozark brand, but they had the best reflector that I could find, and it was like, I don't know, less than $10 for the flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
And
did that also have the plastic cylinder?
Yeah. I just didn't use the base of it and 3D printed a holder for the Pixie Cam to make the lens come out in the center, and made like a
Whoa.
right angle mount,
Good.
so I could.
Ray, I wish you hadn't shown me that. That's really cool. Because the obvious advantage of that is that if you trained on recognizing a cone, and now it's going to be very distorted there because it's that 363,
Yep.
but that would really be cool because you could at least tell you what quadrant your cone is in.
Yep, and you can
Mhm.
see, it's almost like 180
Yeah.
degrees. It's
Yeah, I
like
see
my
it.
fingers like right next.
Mhm. Very cool.
So, and it's it's seeing through a transplant. The lens is transparent. I've tried not to scratch it, so you don't
Yeah.
want that. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was pretty
Is
simple.
it
to
a
make.
front? Is it a front surface reflector? Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, it looks like it.
that
but
means it'd really be scratchy if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, yeah. Luckily, it's way up in there, so
Really neat.
yeah. But I don't know. I demoed that quite some time ago. I think it was probably before COVID.
Hmm.
So, and I was looking for an omnidirectional blob detector. So, like if Robo, Magellan, or Columbus, or whatever it's called, regardless of where you came up on the cone with your, GPS coordinates, you could always figure out which way to go because it could see it behind it, in
Mhm.
front of it, anywhere. So
That would be a good use of a Pixie Cam too.
yeah,
Otherwise, you could just put your Pixie Cam in there as another camera and just let
Yep.
it not actually do your cone recognition, but
yeah,
all
but you
you're
could
really
use it.
saying is where's the orangiest blob that I see?
Yeah, which direction? So,
Yeah.
yep. Anyway,
Okay.
but the sunshade was what I was saying was critical, and it's just a piece of black, folder
Did it
paper.
have to be that big?
I think it did. The bigger it is, the more, it's like you don't have to worry about very shallow anger,
Well, you could make
like we-
you can make that plastic column or cup or whatever it is less height lower.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I didn't really want to cut the I
Okay.
wouldn't have a good way to cut it, so
Okay. Gotcha.
but so I just did it's like a
It's like I'm going to Walmart. Very cool. I got to just try that. That's neat.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funky. I always wanted to
Yeah.
try it, but
Well, let me ask you this: what are what version of the Pixie Cam are you using in that? Is it a 1 or
I
2?
think it is. Yeah, it's an older one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. If you want do you still have a 1 or?
Yeah, I think I got a 1, a 2, and a 2 plus.
Oh, okay.
I remember. So I've got plenty of Pixies.
Yep.
So Ray, I don't quite understand the reflector. Is it convex relative to the plane to the plate? Or
Like
is
a
it
bowl.
It looks convex, right?
Convex, concave. Let's
Is it
Yeah,
pointing forward? Is the center of it
yeah.
further toward the opening of the
Yes.
glass?
Yeah.
How is that a flashlight reflector? Or is it the back side of a flashlight reflector?
No, it's the top side, isn't it?
It's like really a lantern reflector, like but they just have a light source pointing up to this reflector.
Oh, like one of those camping lanterns.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great idea! Oh,
Yeah. I looked around, looked at Harbor Freight, went to Walmart's, went to Target's. Walmart's had the best one.
oh,
And I think
what
it's
a
an
clever
Ozark.
idea!
I got the box. Hold on. anyway, that's the box that it comes in, and this is the light source, and that shines up.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's parabolic or not, but that's the base of it that clear
Yeah.
piece sets on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
got
it is an Ozark brand, Ozark Trail. If you can see that or not, but it was pretty cheap. No, nothing has price tags on it anymore, but I just thought it was less than $10.
That's a really clever idea to use a lantern reflector. I've often
Yeah.
thought, wouldn't a convex reflector be great? But I never thought about never figured out where I could get one. But that's exactly
Yeah.
right. Lanterns
Yeah.
have.
I even looked at you can buy ball lenses, but so it just looks like a marble. But actually, I think the ones that are parabolic work better. So this is that's a spherical lens. So you get a the same thing out of it, but it's a little more difficult to use than a reflector.
Hey Ray, can you give us
Yeah.
the IP? Can you put the IPC code in the chat?
Sure.
You know,
Anyway, so I got that one and kind of played around with it. And there was another one too. It was a half sphere. Took forever to get from China, but like I said, the size of it and that was by far the easiest thing to use. So that's a half lens, so you can get same sort of thing out of it. If I, should be 360 degrees. Oop, okay. Oh, there it is. It's on the other side. It inverts.
Oh. Wow.
So that's another omnidirectional lens that you can use, but it's just a dome or half a hemisphere. But
Thanks, Ray.
fun with flashlights. Who'd have thought? You know.
So many things to repurpose out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. UPC code.
All right. Well, cool.
Oops.
You put the UPC for us.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I think he's getting that. I think we had next in line, Paul. You had a good old fashioned robot update, and then maybe was anyone after Paul? Wanted to jump in?
I had a question for Doug.
Okay, Dave has a question, and Harold has a hand up. So, Dave and Harold.
Okay. So I think I guess I don't have much of an in-depth update, more of a broader update. So first, a couple of weeks ago, I showed a demo of a simulation of that robot mower that a guy in Germany is developing, where he's doing his own electronics and putting it in a third-party mower and using Rtk Gps, and that's very similar to the project I'm trying to build. So I've been tracking that. I'm on the Discord server and been tracking it pretty closely, and he's apparently up to about 1,000 people in the community at the moment that are tracking it. So it's having, I guess, a significant swelling in interest. And so as part of my trying to make Mobot work, I guess if you pin me to the screen, your screen. This is the electronics box, and since last time, I've mounted the Oak D light on the on one end or one edge of the electronics box, actually pointing towards the back of the mower. I figure I'll drive it backwards because it's just as backwards is the same thing as forwards, and as far as mowing goes. And then I've got the antenna for the Rtk GPS at the other end of the lid. And I had trouble with both of those pieces of technology, and open to any experience or input that anybody has. I guess starting with the Oak D Lite, I installed, so I'm running Ubuntu 20.04, and I know they send out an SD card for the Raspberry Pi that would supposedly run the Oak D Lite. I haven't tried that, but I installed the software on Ubuntu 20.04 on the Raspberry Pi, and it was just crap. It ran at about 3 frames a second and crashed a whole lot. And I don't know if anyone else has like done much with this thing to.
What Raspberry Pi did you run it on? A 3 or a 4?
A 4.
Okay. Well, I've run it on a 4 without any problem.
Okay.
Using their oh, I don't know. Okay, but it wasn't 3 or 4. It was more in the line of 15 or 20.
Okay.
So, but I don't know exactly, Paul, because I ran it under Windows, which was a little better because it was a more powerful machine.
Yeah,
but it is real susceptible of being underpowered.
Yeah, I've got it running off of a powered hub.
Okay,
No,
that should definitely help.
Yeah.
Okay, but how much is the power hub? Is it a USB 3 hub?
Yeah, it's a big old honking USB 3 hub.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it in there.
Okay, so it's capable of producing 3 amps
Yeah, and I've got
per channel.
It should be capable of it. It's not drawing that much.
Yeah.
It's a practical matter. Steady state. I don't find that it actually uses very much power.
Yeah.
But
They say
yeah, the hub is powered off of a DC to DC converter that runs off of 24 volts.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised by the disappointing outcome because I previously run it on my laptop on Ubuntu 20.04, which is obviously an x86 processor, and it worked great. So I was like surprised and disappointed. So I'm like wondering how to attack making it work on the RPi running Ubuntu 20.04.
Well, they have a really good community. I would, just throw it out to them.
That's a thought.
Or the what's the name of it? Luminous, or whatever the company is that makes it. They're also my understanding is they're really helpful. I haven't had to go there, but that would definitely be worth asking them because I'm sure that you're not the only one. Don't you need Ubuntu to run ROS?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure you're not the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
You need to find get in the community and ask them, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also tried to make the RTK GPS work, and the results there were also disappointing. I did get it to achieve RTK lock, a fixed RTK solution if I put the antenna up on my guttering on the roof. It would lock in pretty quickly if I put it up there. I observed two effects, but it's a little hard to say because it takes a while to lock. You know, sometimes you can sit there for a minute before it acquires RTK fixed precision, but I couldn't get it to lock, even though I put it out in the middle of my front lawn and in the middle of my back lawn. I couldn't get it to lock when the antenna was down at ground level, mounted where it would be on top of the mower, you know, sitting on top of the ground plane. And
I'm sorry, Paul. So are you talking about the base station, or are you talking about the rover?
No,
the rover.
the rover. I don't have a base station because I'm using RTCM for network corrections.
Okay. And it had to be as high as your gutters?
Yeah.
Sure.
If I set it on the guttering, it was really pretty quick and pretty reliable at getting a fix. But down at ground level, I have not yet been able to get a fix.
That sounds like a Kareem problem, because we know we've seen videos of him doing on his robot, you know, doing sand drawings and stuff like that. So he's obviously got it down. He might not have. It's probably about the same height as your mower.
I would think.
Yeah. So something not.
Okay.
He'd be a good, you know, maybe just drop him a line and see what he says.
Yeah. So that's all I had. I was just looking for any ideas or suggestions to help me out of my woes, but I'm about to become.
When you put it up on the gutter, what was the accuracy that it? I'm just curious. How good did you get it to be? Could you tell?
It reported 2.4 centimeters.
And if you moved it a foot, where you could actually see the foot?
I did not try that because I'm just getting lat long out of it at the moment, so it's not really usable, and decided to move it, so I didn't try that.
Put it on a pole. Yeah, I could see Paul's next robot. You know, he's his lawnmower and this 15-foot pole. Okay. Neat. Sorry, we can't be much help.
Okay, well, it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
You know, we've come up with so many great ideas that have helped me on my way and pointed me in good directions that it's always worth a shot.
I bet you Kareem could answer your question in 5 minutes, though. You know, he's probably done it too. You know.
All right. Well, thanks, Paul. I think next we had Dave. You had a question, and Harold's got something after that, I think.
Yeah, Doug, didn't you mention that there's a Foursquare contest in
At least, yeah. Right now we got 2 contests: Foursquares and Sample and Retrieve. We're interested in learning some neural net type vision work. That would be a good contest for. Nobody else has screamed out that they want anything else. So those.
Okay.
The list is the date that you wanted is the second Saturday of June.
Okay.
Yep.
Second Saturday of June.
Now that I've heard that Pat's going to be out of town there, though, that we may have to have a remote or a later remote date or something.
Okay. Thank you.
Doug, I was going to try to get a video of my robot when I do it. and just submit it to you.
Okay, that's fine. That's great too.
It's,
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get an area. My living room just quite isn't big enough, so I'm trying to get an indoor one of the local shops here. If I can
Yeah.
clean out a 20 by 20 area and do a
Oh, you're going
contest.
for the big one.
Oh, well, I'm 8 by 8, but I don't want to run into anything if possible. So
Yeah, yeah.
But he's got it's 100 by 300.
But you could do. I think the rules are 8 to 15 feet. You could do a 15-foot one.
Yeah, 8 by 8 is good enough. Just as long as I stay outside of the 8 by 8.
Isn't it relative? I mean, Pat, aren't you doing a robot that's like 4 by 4 to begin with? Weighs like 1,000 pounds or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not quite that big. But
Okay.
15
Okay.
pounds and 16 by 16 for the robot, essentially.
Okay. What I do have a question about that, though, guys. How receptive would people be for designing a 3D piece that would be put on the front of robots that essentially would look like, let's see if I can find a piece of paper, something like, oh boy, something like that. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm looking for a place where I can put a pencil and mark the starting dot and then repeat it by putting the pencil in the same place and putting the end dot. Okay. The way we've done it in the past is you mark someplace on your robot and we just drop down there, and then when we get finished, we drop down again and try to measure the distance.
So you're just talking about a flat piece of plastic with screw holes for mounting and a notch for a pencil?
Yeah, or just something that would make it stable. You could use glue, you could use tape, whatever. If you didn't want
I
to
could do that.
disfigure your robot.
I could do that
Yeah.
easy in Fusion 360 and 3D print it. I mean,
Well, I'm just wondering, I hate to require people to have a specific robot part, but I was just bringing it up. If you're designing your robot, if you can make at least a place on it that's easy to measure, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a marked center line, or just something so that we know we're getting an exact look. We're measuring the same place, because I have seen these things go below 1/4 of an inch. We now just say that's a win, okay? But you
I was
just want
planning
to
to use like a piece of 2 by 4 and just put a center mark on the front of the robot, a center mark on the back of the robot, and just use it as a straight edge down to the ground.
Okay, I mean, that works. I mean, it's just, just something that we can do. I was just thinking out loud the other day. It was probably a bad thought, but I was just wondering if there could have been, David would be all over me for saying this, because this is making the robot designed to the contest as opposed to a general purpose robot. So I'm going to quit my losses right now and just delete this portion of the tape.
I was just planning on using footsteps to count how close I was.
Footsteps.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Less than one footstep, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
interesting
Right.
bit of
If
news.
you-
An interesting bit of news for the moment. PayPal is down globally.
Ooh.
Whoa. Well, that there.
Those are foreign asset transfers.
Yeah.
First quarter of the year, Netflix lost 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And apparently they're down for the second quarter, if you're counting April, like 700,000 subscribers because of Russia.
Oh, gads.
Ooh, you mean those are all Russian subscribers?
Well, there was a bunch of Russian subscribers that are in the loss list, but it impacted their share price. I read 25%.
Whoa.
It's so easy to fall into doom scrolling. I don't know about you, but I find myself doing it too much each day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Take a
just,
break.
I,
Take a break
Yeah,
from
I was-
Facebook.
you know, they show these footage of like, you know, trains of tanks. It's kind of like, okay, this is an ideal time to take those out. Why don't we do that? Not just show the footage of, you know, 20 miles of tank, you know, running down one, you know.
Okay, guys, everybody stop, breathe, breathe. Robot, robot.
Well, there are robot related topics for Ukraine. They're using robots over there to disarm mines that are left behind.
Are they really?
Yeah,
You don't know?
I saw a news article here in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
They were disarming mines with robots there. Probably limited use.
Yeah,
That's good though. We're gonna need
probably
it.
one. It's kind of like John. It's kind of a one-time use. You mean?
Only if you're unsuccessful.
Really cheap robots, you know, just throw them at the mines. Yeah.
Just have it walk and step on the mine. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on that count, I think we gotta lighten the mood here a little bit and make it easier for Harold. I think you're next in line.
Come on, Harold.
I do have something robotic. See,
All
I
right,
only
Mike.
have one thing, and I don't know if you've seen it. I saw it through the Adafruit, but they do have this available to let's see, control copy. I'm going to put this in the chat. Paste.
Okay, whose cat is that?
Oh, that's mine currently. That's ugly.
Keep looking around. It's mine.
And you guys got to me too quickly. Let's see if I can find my browser. Yes. Wrong browser this time, though. I can change it right fast. A second. Yep, got it. Okay. What do you want from me?
Wouldn't have that problem with Linux.
Yeah, you would. Oh, there it is. Say, yes.
Too many windows.
That's what I want to show you. I put the link to that in the channel. On the Adafruit side of it, they say, you know, it's coming soon. If you go look on the Aroma side, they say order now for June delivery. So that is the new version of the Aroma robot development platform. It has no cleaning things in it, no vacuum. In fact, they've made it where if you were to get the vacuum parts and install them on this, well, there's no place to install them. So they'll keep you out from becoming. They don't want this for people making other vacuums with it. They want you to develop stuff with it. And I think the price on that's like $299 or something, and you get the charging station and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what it does out of the box at the moment, but what I do know is that it is a ROS 2 node. So this plays right into the ROS world of all the things. So I saw this come across, figured I would share, and there we go.
$299. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all, and it does a few things on it. You know, they're showing it off and that kind of stuff. We got a little video of the thing.
What's its main sensor? Does it have like a LiDAR or one of those 360 kind of cameras?
Actually, I don't think it has any of that right now. I think it has some of that. But let's see if I can get on the
I mean, that might explain the price if it doesn't have any of the fancy sensors on it.
So on Adafruit's website /product/5424, they show its technical details. and it's using a downward optical flow sensor for odometry.
Hmm.
Gyroscope, accelerometer, lift sensors, bumper zones.
Well, it had a window on the front. I thought typically that's for the infrared sensor.
Mm-hmm.
But no LiDAR, no actual camera, it sounds like.
No. The idea is, if you see right over here on the right hand side, is that they're giving you plenty of places to mount things on top of it to do extra stuff with it. Canvas without restraint. There you go. Like we need restraining around here. There's a coding app that comes along with it. And like, for instance, this young person is putting an arm on theirs. And I think I've seen some with it, examples where they're putting Raspberry Pis and the whatnot on top of it. And it is a ROS 2 node, so you can send it, which means it uses Gazebo for the simulator and all that sort of thing, which I thought was pretty cool. Shot.
Is anybody heard from James Leroy? Is he still selling, the LiDARs out of
Oh, what is it? I've got some other pictures here. See, there you go. Somebody's doing things extra on
Neato.
top.
Neato? Yeah.
And if you look at that right there, you'll see all the holes they've got pre-drilled for you to build up both things on.
Yeah, I mean, the LiDARs have gotten so cheap that I don't think there's a market anymore for those LiDARs that are removed from a Neato vacuum, because you can get it brand new for less than $100 now.
Yeah, what was James selling him at? Like 80 or something?
Well, no, I don't know if was he selling the actual LiDARs? He was selling a custom board he made, I thought.
I thought he had a whole room dedicated to Neato platforms that he was ripping the LiDARs out of.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, that's about all I had. I thought that was kind of cool, and I had to present it to you folks. And you know how I have that whole thing going on with there's problems I want to solve and problems I have to solve. That right there solves a whole bunch of problems. I solves a whole bunch of problems I don't have to solve. Right? I got a battery. I've got a way the thing moves around. I got some sensors already there, and they have some whatever coding version. They will do their code create or something along those ways for their STEM learning stuff, and it does ROS 2 as well, so you get messages and things out of it. For $299, that seems like that seems kind of reasonable.
Yeah, I wonder how good the odometry is. I mean, if all that is good, right, then yeah.
Yeah, it's using an optical flow sensor. Some of those specs just like that.
Didn't Murray try to do that and didn't really work out all that well?
Maybe. So right there is the all the sensors and things.
So he was trying with that Pimeroni one, right? So this one might have a different sensor.
We want to make me pick you up and give you pickup lovings, and then they'll all be a problem.
Harold, do you know what type of battery it's using there?
According to, it's a 1800 milliamp.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, lithium one.
Lithium.
That's cool. Yeah, nice.
Still using iCads? No.
Bluetooth Low Energy on the thing.
Yeah, because the problem with I know that I had a what do they call that? The same type of I had an iCreate 1, I think, and the battery was always the problem on that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 of them. Only one of them works now.
Yeah.
So.
It's not boding well for this $299 here, man. You're not helping me with my selling points.
No, I think I bet it'd be a lot of fun, Harold. I know Paul used to make had a turtle bot that was on a similar platform.
There's one other thing, and I don't think I showed. Did I show people this last time? Let me go find it real fast.
Yeah, that platform should still be in storage, right? At least last I saw it, but it's been a couple years.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So there's something else I think that I found that I thought was fantastic, but you can't buy. Again, another thing you can't buy at the moment. The Spheroid guys have done some fantastic, cool things. And one of the things they have still about the same price point is, let's go look at the high school thing. Is this thing? Give you a link to that.
What price is that?
There's definitely some cool going on. Let me put this in the chat. Hold on.
At least one
Zumo's
guy,
bigger brother.
Doug Ames had bought one of those. He was going to present, but I think he hasn't had a chance yet. But
Ooh, 280, huh?
Yeah, 280 for this thing. And there's some really cool things going on. Like we played the little bit of video they have there. See how you mount things on top? Oh yeah. Getting funky. Get down with your bad self. You got a slide-in battery. That looks cool. It's looking at colors underneath for those little splotches. And there's a bit of coordination going on somehow. Because that right there is probably some coordinated things. If we all had robots that did all that the way we wanted to do it every time we did it, right? So that's a bit intriguing as well on that with the tech specs, and you guys can go look it up as well. 2 hours of runtime, they say. Universal expansion port, it says. I don't know exactly what that means, but I bet they got some way to go play and plug and play and do stuff with all that stuff. I bet that's a whole bunch of things going on there. And it looks like a pretty decent platform for, again, solving some problems you don't have to solve. So you can solve the problems you want to solve. I thought it was cool, and so I meant to bring it last week, but I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the mental brain power left over to even say very much. So
You could use it to separate your ferrous and non-ferrous materials. It looks like, you know.
Yeah, I think that was one of the sample things they had that they were doing.
That's important.
Wanted to high five things and all that kind of stuff, and yeah. I thought both of those things were actually cool. My Twitch channel, all were like, "Hey man, can I get one of those now?" Because I was showing it off, and they're like, "No, can't get one of them now." I think one of the reasons is because it probably can't buy Raspberry Pis for that. I'm still looking on Mouser, by the way. Mouser has 8 gig Raspberry Pis slated to show up May 12th. They have 4 and 8 gigs there. The 8 gigs are clocking in at $93 or $94 instead of the $75 thing. So, and they say you can pre-order them on their website. I haven't decided to pull that trigger yet, although I probably should. And according to Elon Musk, they're making 500,000 of these things a month, but the demand is much higher than that, and they won't be able to catch up to the demand for probably another year.
Wow.
So, I say Elon Musk, not Elon Musk. Edom Upton, the
Eldon?
Yeah, Upton.
Eldon Upton.
Eldon Upton.
the other Musk.
Yeah, the other Musk, exactly. And
The British Musk.
the British Musk. And so also people have done things like Adafruit and other people that will get stock every month. They're forcing you to do 2-factor authentication to kill the bots. They're doing everything they can to kill the spam bots or the buy bots to give normal, ordinary people chances to buy stuff at reasonable and expected rates.
Has anybody heard on availability of the Raspberry Pi 02W? because that's, you know, that's a great substitute for
Well,
a 3.
Since I have the site already, if you'll go over to RPI locator, I'll put this in the thing too.
About the same performance and a lot less expensive.
I think that the people said the big problem is that it only has a half a gig of memory.
Mm.
Compared to
There's
what?
a link. And so rpilocator.com, if you go there, apparently if you're in Simith, which is, I don't know what the country code AT is, but it looks like it's in a Euro, they've got some 4 gig RAM Model 4s ready to be snapped up.
So, Doug, per your comment, are you saying it has Pi Zero W?
I don't know the specs for sure, but I said that's what I heard was. Otherwise, because I was really thinking the 2 was going to be a, it's like Ray said, it's supposed to be Raspberry Pi 3 killer,
Yeah.
And but what I understood is that it didn't have the well, let's look it up, okay?
I thought the primary difference was just the process.
AT is Austria, so if you're in Austria, there's some Raspberry Pis for you. But there you go. But I mean, you can order them from there and ship them over if you really want to do that. But if you look in the United States, these guys are pretty cool about catching all that stuff. And last in stock was this. Last update status was that. And before, when I'm looking at these things, the update status has been like 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, that sort of stuff. So they've got this bot is going out and checking all these sites like every few minutes on this thing. So.
Yike! Lots of no's in that column.
Yeah, they're all no's. If you get something, if you actually get a good hit, it'll show right at the top in this extra green there. That's the only place on the planet that these people know about that you can get you a Raspberry Pi, and that happens to be a 4 gig model. So that's a usable model for most of what most people want to do with it.
Well, what about eBay?
You're welcome to go to eBay and spend $200+ for this $50 unit. You want to do that. So let's go. Big line. eBay.
I'll sell you a 4 gig for $10.
Well, I was wondering if anybody's selling Raspberry Pis that they bought, but just decided, used maybe a few times and then selling them used.
Oh, look at that. Brand new Pi Zeros all in bags, and it looks like a box of them for a whole bunch of money.
A box of them.
Yeah, let's look at that.
So Pat, the shipping on yours is $100, I'm guessing.
No, the Pi doesn't work. The shipping is your problem, but the Pi doesn't work.
That's the catch. I knew there was a catch. Usually it's like $10 and $100 shipping.
It's the one last winter that I zapped with a static charge.
Well, right there, if you want to get you a Raspberry Pi 02, for $82, you can do that. That's a $4 board or $10 board at most. Micro Center will have Pi Picos, and they had a selection of 2 gig Pi 4s. And if that works for you, they will. I was there Monday, and they had some of those, but they don't last long when they have them.
Yeah.
John, I just checked it out. It is a half a gig.
Yeah.
It's 512.
Okay, but that's a half a gig for the 02, and it's the same for the 0, right?
Well, let me look at the 0. I didn't look at the 0.
It wouldn't make any sense that they would downgrade the memory.
Yeah, but I hear you. Let's see.
But lots of things haven't made sense before.
There's lots of stuff that don't make sense, right?
I don't
You
even
can
know.
get a Pi 3B right now with a case for $78.
Yike!
Wow, even that's kind of stupid, isn't it?
And that's kind of stupid, right? That has got 2 bids on it. Is a Pi 4, $87, 2 bids and 6 days left. I'm pretty certain that's not going to stay at $67. Same thing with those. Oh, look at that one. Buy it now.
86, yeah.
Pi, you get a Pi 4 2 gigabytes RAM, $98.
Jake.
Yeah, that's a $35, $40 piece of equipment there, and they want $100 for it. And it's because people are out there. But I guarantee whoever's selling it doesn't use them, and all they're doing is buying them up in lots to resell them in eBay.
Well, you have to wonder, is the price increase eventually effectively going to become permanent?
No.
Well, that's what everybody says, but you know,
No. The Raspberry Pi people and the Adafruit people are still selling them for the $75 prices for the 8 gigs and that kind of stuff. The only people that are jacking them up are the resellers, and for whatever reason, Mauser is jacking their price, but they probably were more expensive than the $75 anyway before all this stuff started. Mr. Upton there is pretty. I believe when he says no. So if you buy them from, what is that?
But the catch is it's going to take another year.
It's going to take another year for them to catch up. That's provided nothing else wacky happens.
They ought to have a lottery too.
Well, you know, that's what Micro Center's done, by the way. So people can get video cards they need. They have a new policy that there's only one video card sold per household for every 30 days. Wow. So you can get your video card, but you can only get one every 30 days. They went from, people lining up on Saturday to get a video card maybe on Monday morning to a lotto system to a, you have to check in online to now this, you get to buy one per address every 30 days. Oh, and to speak of that, you can look it up. I checked with them. The Micro Center $100 off Ender 3 Pro, the $100 off of that is still going. That coupon's still good. They said, yeah. I said, I'm a customer. He goes, we don't care if you can get that coupon, we'll give it to you for $100. And because we want you spending money with us. I was talking to the cashiers and the workers there. The problem is they want to sell it. They want to send you a text to your phone. And then if they've already got your phone number registered, guess what they do not do? So if they don't have your phone number and you want a Ender 3 Pro and a kit thing, that deal's still going. That $200 printer turns into a $100 printer. And hell, there's more parts in there. You can't buy all the parts for that printer for under $100.
Yeah, well, the Raspberry Pi is concerned, it's not just supply chain; it's all those stupid Bitcoin miners.
Oh, those people are just burning electricity. There's no way in hell you're going to get enough Raspberry Pis doing enough to build it to do a Bitcoin. Now, there's some other NFTs, I think is what they're referred to as a thing that you might be able to mine some of those things, but they're not fast enough to mine Bitcoin. They're just not. There's other people in Sweden and Norway using geothermal and heating the world with their GPUs to burn Bitcoins. And your Raspberry Pi ain't keeping up with even the low end GPU.
With Bitcoin, my understanding is it's no longer profitable except for people with a lot of processing power, but in terms of economy of scale, because the amount that you get for mining Bitcoin keeps going down as they approach this upper limit for the maximum number of coins that they're going to have a fixed number of coins.
Yeah.
The closer they get to that, the less they pay for a new coin.
The harder it is to get a new coin, right? And you got.
But as you pointed out, for some cryptocurrencies that are still getting started, people can still make some money mining with a.
Yeah, if you want to jump into all that, you can jump into that. I don't know what to do with all those things. Is it going to fire up? Is it going to make anything, or is you got like 27,000 different NFTs out there, and one of them makes it? Which one do you pick? Or a handful make it? I don't know. I'm just going.
Well, it's funny because you see people posting in the Facebook Raspberry Pi forums and other forums like that, oh yeah, well, they're all mining cryptocurrency with Raspberry Pis.
Mhm.
And some of them will claim they're making money, but the problem is most of them don't realize you're not going to make any appreciable money.
Hey, John.
It's a fad. They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway. And that's what most people tell them. The people that are claiming they're making money, I can also claim I'm a 98-pound, 37-year-old Asian woman. But that don't mean that I am, right? So if there's probably some that you can do that on. Most people that I've seen with that are like, yeah, I want to do this, this, and this. And they're like, man, you're just not going to do it with a Pi. It's just not fast enough. Because the first one that finds the coin wins. That's how all this stuff works. And I've got an 8 gigabyte, however many megahertz GPU, and 10 of them in a box processing Bitcoin versus your however many on. Who's going to win that battle? Nothing beats horsepower like in drag racing. You got a lot of horsepower there, and the Raspberry Pi, even though it's a good device, and I like them, it just doesn't have the horsepower to do that kind of stuff. It just doesn't have it. You want to play with it and learn some stuff with it, and do perfectly fine. But if you think you're going to make your millions, you're just going to burn electricity. And
Hey,
that's
Carl, did you have anybody else in the queue? You're on mute.
I want to mention one more thing.
You're muted, Carl.
I will be quiet now, by the way. I think I've said way too much here.
That's okay. Thanks, sir. Else on the list yet? Would anyone else like to jump in? I think Doug had something.
Yeah, but if John's going to has something he wants to show,
it's on. Okay.
Yeah, something that Murray posted in one of his Discord channels. Interesting little robot. Let me share the screen here and bring it up. Check this out.
This is a robot that walks, flies, skateboards, and slacklines. But why? A portion of this video is sponsored by Bluehost. More about them at the end of the show. There's bipedal robots out there, and drones are ubiquitous. But until now, no one had engineered walking and flying technology to work together in a single robot.
So it's the first robot that truly integrates the walking and the flying. It's not just a drone with legs.
It's a Leonardo, and it stands for Legs Onboard Drone. So I think it's a pretty good name.
Why is this potentially useful?
Yeah, so any flying vehicle actually have to start from the ground, take off, and eventually they cannot stay in the air forever. They have to eventually come down. But sometimes they have to come down in very challenging terrain, some obstacles. So it's actually a good idea to have these controllable legs. They can land in a very configuration or posture or orientation.
But there are additional benefits. A robot like this is more stable than a regular drone.
I view these propellers almost like our arms. So some people might say that, oh, you guys are cheating because, bipedal robots do not have propellers, but we are essentially using the propellers to do additional stabilization. So basically, you generate a lift or thrust force to cancel some of the weight of the robot, but that's really a secondary fact. The most important thing is basically posture or orientation or stabilization.
CRM
Whoops.
software.
I wasn't gonna go all the way through it. It's a longer video.
Yeah, I believe David Anderson showed that a while back too.
Oh, did he?
Oh. Yeah, and he had a big, basically.
Problem?
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he thought it was kind of dumb.
Oh,
But-
so he thought it was cheating too.
Yeah, I think so. But
I just thought it was interesting to watch the way it
Well,
moves.
that's what you should do. Is you should think out of the box like that. I can see. I got to admit, but unless he had some sort of like when he's doing one mode or the other, he's got some sort of like energy saving benefit, so that like if he's using 1,000 watts to fly, and he's using 200 watts to walk, and he's only flying when he can't get over something, something like that, I think would make a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, I didn't see anything in the video. I would like to see them show it doing something useful that either a drone or a walking robot alone can't do.
Yeah, because it looked, the one that, and I think this looks like version 2, John, because the first one we saw, the legs literally looked like they were really floppy, like they were really minimal legs. They were.
It's kind of like they were touching the ground as if they were legs, but the real work was being done by the blades holding it up.
Right, exactly.
So
I'm sure he would say it was because they were using the propellers for stabilization.
Yeah, well, partway through the video, I didn't get to that part, but one of the advantages they did show was that because the robot has contact with the ground, when you get a considerable amount of wind, a drone can't hold its position, whereas this robot can.
Really?
Or probably do it a little easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You can tell it was designed by a guy because it looks like it's got 6-inch heels on it. No woman would ever design that.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention before we quit is I mentioned them a long time ago, but Charmed Labs, that makes the Pixie, has come out with this, and they've the Vizzy, and I believe I showed this earlier, but at the time it was a someday in the future product, and now it looks like it's are you guys seeing this? Yeah. So it looks like it's this is what it looks like inside. Price. So now they have this is 260 for the 2 gig and a 300 for the 8 gig. Now it has the 12 megapixel camera sensor and a wide angle. Otherwise, it has that super Pi camera. And I'm sure you're paying a lot for the software, but it looks like you can buy it. And here's some of the options they've got. They've got a big outdoor waterproof thing. They have different lenses you can buy, and screens. So anyway, it's a little pricey for basically a Raspberry Pi camera and stuff, but it looks like it's extremely well put together, and probably by the time you did it yourself, you probably would have that in it anyway. So just something to think about. And if you couldn't get a Pi, here's the decked out Pi. So
I saw that one, Doug, and I thought they were possibly trying to compete with the machine vision industrial world.
Could be.
Now they're in a different class of camera. Some of the machine vision cameras I've used are $10,000 Canadian, about $7,000 US.
Yep.
But they've got a lot of the same tools you would use in OpenCV on those cameras.
Yeah, like I say, I'm sure that it'd be interesting to see. I think they do have some demo videos that you can look at as some things they're doing with it, but okay, so let's look at what $300 seems to buy you in this inflation-based world. You can get an 8 gig Pi, going to at least cost you $100, right? I believe. I think it's $99 or something like that.
I'm going to, yeah, if you can find them for that, I think you're going to be paying double that most of the time, the ones you can find.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that the camera sensor, does anybody know the price of the 12 megapixel camera sensor for the Pi?
I got one without a
$30.
lens for I want to say $75.
Okay, so now you're up to $175 if you were paying a list. And then the lens is probably not a big, it's probably not the best lens that hit God's green earth, but it's probably another $50, So now you're up to $225 for the base. And so now it doesn't sound so bad. They have some sort of what do they call them? It's not a shield. What do they call them on a Pi? The thing that the daughter board.
Oh,
what do they
clam
call
shell.
them?
They're called hats. Hats.
Huh?
They're called hats. HAT.
Hats. Okay. So it's got some sort of custom hat on it. So it might not be that bad. Now I don't. Now what do you need an 8 gig one, or can you get away with 4 gigs? Or can you get away with 2 gigs? $259, and we already talked about $225. That's really cheap for the software. You know what I'm saying? That's not including the hat and the case and all of that. So it's really not that bad.
Yeah, I wonder if those are like autofocus lenses, or are they strictly manual focus? Or
Most of the Raspberry Pi cameras are, well, I think all of them are currently manual focus.
Mm.
I saw a Kickstarter project that had one with autofocus.
Well, let's see what this one.
So
Okay.
it's not like a motorized zoom lens either, right? It's probably
Well,
manual.
yeah, when I said
zoom.
autofocus, yeah, a motorized lens, not a zoom lens, but it was like basically, the component, the real small CCDs mounted right on a board, all right, with just a little box around it that was basically a small motor.
So that was for the autofocus part?
Yeah, for autofocus, but that was a Kickstarter project. I don't think that they actually had them available.
Yeah. I guess the poor man's version is you have a servo lever moving the, the autofocus lever in the.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to try to see what I can do to do that myself. Get a real low RPM micromotor with a lot of torque, and then maybe 3D print some small gear. See if I can do that myself.
Sounds like a lot of precision alignment.
Well, as long as there's no slop, as long as there's no backlash in the gear, and you have magnetic encoder on the motor, you probably can get pretty precise with the positioning. I think I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I have something.
Where are we, John? You got something?
Have a trash to you and see what you all think. Yeah. So I saw this. So do we know what edge impulse is? In other words, there's this article and it lists pretty well in depth, and it talks about edge impulse. So, and it unfortunately uses Raspberry 4, which sounds like it's very hard to get now. as I say, it goes into a long detail about edge impulse, but it doesn't define it totally other than it's a free and machine learning platform. So has anybody had any experience with that?
And
Huh.
crickets. What's Google say?
Well, it
Google
says
Meet.
right there. Move it up. It says Edge Impulse is a free embedded machine learning development platform for developers.
So y'all might be interested in this. I don't know. So I'm like,
Embedded machine learning. Looks interesting.
So, you know,
Hey, John, click on the Edge Impulse link in there.
This one?
Yeah, it says you have to sign up, but let's see what they got.
I'll scroll up near the top again. I noticed something. Okay, scroll down a little. Keras, they're using KERAS.
Yeah.
Keras, yeah.
That's the underlying machine learning technology they're using.
So, as I said, there's that. So, I don't know how good it is or not. And yeah, I just saw that today. So,
Go up to the pricing, John. What is it? Is this what's this?
Show a picture of an arm and a leg. Is that the?
Yours looking to play.
It's a freemium model. Get started with something.
Well, it looks like there's some. This sounds a little bit like this type of thing. It seems to be popping up all over the place. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can get it.
So it looks like a set of predefined models that you can adapt for whatever you want to use it for or try to.
it talks about label and
Well, they probably have some predefined models, but I saw somewhere that they also give you the ability to train your own.
right. Talk about training a little bit and then downloading, because it talks about a network model here, and then it says configuring the block.
This is sort of like the one I mentioned probably a couple months ago, called Teachable Machine, where you essentially give it a data set and it will fit the model and everything and send you back the weights. I think.
Okay, so it says some. So I just scanned this, so it was very long.
Yeah.
Winding. It talks about connecting the Raspberry to it, and then deploying the model.
Mm-hmm.
I
think
didn't
I saw
know.
them mention.
Might be interesting to look at. I just saw it out there. I'm like,
From what I've read so far, producing your own training data or producing your own model, my understanding is that it typically takes hundreds of images, maybe close to 1,000 images to get a good model, right?
I think so, John. I think you're right.
That's the real kicker, is having enough images to do proper training.
But, if you remember Jesse's talk, he talked about mirroring the image and changing the contrast and and the lighting, certain points, so you can grow your data set.
In the background.
And yeah.
So yeah, like, for example, if you just wanted a model of cone, you know, you used to take a cone and put it outside and just walk around it, you know.
Yep, that's what I'm
place
planning
under
on.
cone and generate hundreds of images of it.
Yeah.
In different conditions, so that doesn't require you to go out and get a different cone.
Right. Well, what you want to do is you in a case of a cone, it's pretty simple, but I'm not interested in classifying anything besides the cone. So it's the model is simply cone, no cone. You know what I'm saying? That's simpler to do than one that's got 27 different items in it.
Right. But if you wanted to say create a model to, for cats, you know, you would need several, many different types of cats in different positions in order to have a good data set.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
I'd kind of like to get into machine learning, but I haven't really decided which one would be the best one to launch with.
I know what you mean.
There's so many of them now, and you go to Pi Image Search, and I think his latest thing is he's kind of favoring this YOLO. YOLO stands for you only look once.
Yep. Yeah. Apparently they have made in their 3 and 4, they've actually made lots of progress in it. So yeah, that's where I'm looking at too. It's sort of like making that final step into it. You know, it's like, you know, I've been learning more. I'm a lot smarter about it than I used to be, but making that step into it, you know.
So you haven't actually really, quote unquote, started learning YOLO?
No. But that's the one I'm planning, the model I'm planning, because I'm going to use an Intel. Well, if I use the OD Lite, you're going to use a Movidia stick. I mean, it's got a built-in Movidia stick.
Yeah.
And if I use Raspberry Pi, I am going to use the Movidia stick. So that means I'm actually going to use OpenVINO. And if you,
stick, yeah.
You know, so that's how you, but what you're doing there is you're just changing a model into a certain format that the Movidius will take care of. So, is actually, I think, a very good starting thing into it, because it kind of gets you through shows you how making the model works. And also it's very interesting because it's also a good example of putting some scale, otherwise you're taking the image and you're also taking scalars that are related to the image. So that's actually more useful. That's even more useful, you know, because now you can say, well, left, right, up, down, whatever you want to do, orange, green, you know, whatever. You can have a lot of things with it. So anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
let me know if you do, because I'm already running OpenVINO. This skull face,
Yeah.
I'm already using OpenVINO and Neural Compute Stick. But
Yeah.
mine's kind of like all off the shelf stuff. I haven't done my own model or anything.
Yeah. Well, like I say, if I, you know, and as you said, I don't think you could just go out in your backyard and shoot pictures of the cone, because I think your angle would be wrong. Your representation of the cone would be wrong. You really need to get at the robot's height, okay, and shoot cones. Now, there might be some things that, you know, you might want to take the cone and throw it in a ditch, you know, and come down on the side of the ditch and get pictures of it from a different angle. You know, there's a lot of different images you could get. We'll find out, you know.
Ed's got his hand up here. Ed, was that an accident? Are you on mute?
Ed, you've raised your hand. What's up?
Maybe having audio problems, or he accidentally raised his hand.
He's got the
and walked away.
auto hand raiser.
Oh, here comes. Wait, he's on mute. What?
Drum roll.
Muted.
He disappeared. No, he's still there.
Just like me, I've been talking into the mute button all night, but okay.
Ran out of
Yeah,
quarters.
I'd like to collaborate with you, Doug, at some point. If we can share notes.
Okay, sounds good. Because like I say, the big first thing I think, one of the things that Donkey Car did was it made it really easy to capture your data set. That was
Yes,
that
it
was
did.
the thing that was it really made it easy. So, I think the data set, like Jesse said, garbage in, garbage out, so getting that data set is key. And getting it under different lighting conditions. We'll see.
Well, and circumstance where I'm thinking of using it right now, my street security camera is using OpenCV, but it's just using OpenALPR, which is a really, really old free license plate reading program, and it's not even being supported anymore. I would like to use, if possible, machine learning to recognize and decode license plates and see how much better I can do than OpenALPR.
Mm.
But for that, I've already got the camera in place. I can literally generate and save thousands in a week.
Yeah.
So I can generate the data for my situation.
And you got to label it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You have to go through each one, and part of the process is a human has to decide, is that a license plate or isn't it a license plate?
Yeah. And even in the cone pictures, you have to do that.
Yes.
And you also have to identify what is a cone in the picture. And,
But it won't take you long to do 1,000 instances. Well, I say won't take you long. I'm not talking about weeks. If you were willing to sit down all day and just look at image after image and like yes, no, you can easily do 1,000 in a day.
You retired guys are killing me.
Well, let me ask you this, John. So on your system, what is the main purpose is to provide information in case of a theft or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so but the machine, so I guess what I'm saying is I could see where if you're just capturing images of the license plate, why not just a picture? And so that this happened at such and such a time and just look at the video screen.
Well, right now the camera end of this project is running that free Linux Motion app, and there are lots of false positives where it windy, cloudy day where you have a whole bunch of pixels because a shadow of a cloud moves across the street. There's quite a few of those images that do not have license plates, are kind of like on the fringes of, okay, the car's way off in the distance and you have to go, that license plate is maybe only a few pixels wide. There's no way that even with machine learning, you're going to be able to read it. So you got to make decisions like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doug put up a thing about Pi image search. I know he had done several things with optical character recognition, but I guess I never got into it. I don't know what he was using, and he's had it out there for a while, though.
Yeah, I ran
years
like
ago.
the first few tutorials on Pi image search, and one of them is optical character recognition. So
Yeah,
he's got all code. Just want to take his code and then tweak it, modify it for your purposes. That's essentially what I did for this skull face. Is the face recognition tutorial that he had. I basically borrowed that and modified it for my purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way to go.
I don't know what he based his on, though.
Well, it's OpenCV has a built-in
OCR.
neural network. All right, the DNN module in Python. I took that and accelerated that with a neural compute stick. It only took like 2 lines of code change to add the neural compute stick, which sped up the processing by like a factor of 20.
Yep. It makes a Pi viable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without it.
That's what got me the smooth motion there for, if you do it without the neural compute stick, you could see as a face move through the image, it's like plop, 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 like that. And that was turbo motion jerky. Once I put the neural compute stick in there, it was all smooth.
Hey, John, have you ever thought about, we'll also call you AKA Big Brother because of, what you're doing there. But
oh,
anyway,
that's a whole nother topic.
Whole nother topic. Instead of, trying to recognize a face, I mean, I think, I don't know, they kind of went up and down with COVID, the price went up and down with COVID, but there's it's a thermal sensor. I don't know, it may have it's got a limited number of sensors in it, 32 by 32 maybe, I don't remember exactly, but wouldn't that be very simple to use because you're just trying to center on a face, right? So a face is going to look like a glowing heat source from camera. I can't think of the name of it.
The whole body is going to be glowing heat. If you're looking at a person, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to sort out the face from the body.
Yeah.
And they may be close, they may be far. So there's a lot of variables to have to deal with.
But still, like the center of the heat is always going to be in the center of like their head or their body.
Right. And their face is going to be probably the only thing that's going to be exposed. So the hot spot will probably be the face. So it's
the face, yeah.
Certainly, I think it's viable.
Yeah. So I was thinking that'd be relatively simple to find kind of the centroid of that,
Yeah, but it'd be pretty hard to, I believe those sensors are still pretty expensive.
But I have